Hello everyone! This game was played in 1968, so some 4 years before Bobby's match of the century against Boris Spassky in Reykjavik. And Bobby is playing against Anthony Saidy. Anthony Saidy was a strong international master. He was also a chess author, and he was somewhat of a friend to Bobby Fischer, as Bobby Fischer did stay with him and his family right before he went to play his match of the century. And Anthony Saidy was actually one of the people that are responsible for talking him into actually going to Reykjavik to play the match. So Saidy is white here and Fischer is black. Let's see this game. We have c4, the English opening by Saidy, e5 by Fischer, knight to c3, knight to c6. We have g3, and Fischer plays f5. Bishop to g2, knight to f6. We have d3. Bishop to c5, e3, and here Fischer plays a move that is, well, probably black could come up with a better move, but Bobby knows what he's doing, as this will allow black a dynamic game. We have e captures on f4 and Fischer castles, and we have knight g2 e2, queen to e8, and Saidy castles, d6, and we have knight to a4, now attacking this bishop on c5. And Fischer plays a bishop to d4, as Fischer would much rather, as he does have to exchange this bishop for a knight, he would much rather exchange it on d4 than on c5 or on b6. As you'll see, after knight captures on d4, e captures on d4, this knight is looking pretty silly here on a4, as the c3 square is no longer available for him, and he doesn't really have a bright future here on a4. There's a famous saying, "Knight on the rim is grim." I always like to remember this one. So Saidy plays h3, not allowing any bishop to g4 ideas. We have h5 by Fischer, and now a3. We have a5 and b3 now. Now Saidy is trying to get this knight into the game, as with the knight jumps to b2, and who knows where he'll go from there. We have queen to g6, and with this queen to g6 move, Bobby is turning all of his wrath to this d3 pawn. We have knight to b2, now protecting the d3 pawn, and the bishop to f5, again attacking the d3 pawn. We have queen to c2, knight to d7, and now rook to e1, as this is preparing bishop to f1 to add another defender to this d3 pawn. Fischer plays knight to c5, so again attacking the d3 pawn, and bishop to f1, now defending the d3 pawn. And this is the position that really shows why Fischer is king, as, a lot of people would try a move like rook to e8 here and try to control the e-file and maybe exchange a pair of rooks, but Fischer plays something that is somewhat counterintuitive, but it's actually brilliant. He plays rook to a6, and this seems like it's putting the rook out of the game, but it's really not, as you'll see. Saidy plays bishop to d2, and we have rook to b6 by Fischer, now attacking this b3 pawn. And here Saidy plays bishop captures on a5. And okay, this doesn't really hang a bishop, because if knight captures, then the simple b4 move wins the piece back. So after this bishop captures on a5 move, Fischer plays rook captures on b3. We have bishop back to d2, and now Fischer plays rook to a8 with another rook. We have a4, and now the other rook goes to a6 as well, so rook to a6. We have a5, and Saidy is not allowing Bobby to play rook to b6, as this would be devastating. We have king to h7, and now rook to d1. And now Fischer plays b6. He really wants to to put that other rook on the b6 square. Well, capturing this pawn isn't really a good idea, as rook captures on b6 would be great for black, as we said. So Saidy plays bishop to e1. We have b captures on a5, we have knight to a4, and here's Bobby's idea that he had. He plays rook captures on d3, sacrificing the exchange, but not really, as this is only temporary. We have bishop captures on d3, bishop captures on d3 with an attack on the queen, and now queen to a2, and now knight to b4. And well, the queen doesn't really have a good square. Wherever the queen goes, the knight has a has a jump to follow. and capturing the knight with bishop to b4 results in 8 captures on b4, and then this knight is pinned, and this would be great for black. So we have queen to a3, and now knight to c2, attacking both queen and the rook on a1. Queen to b2, and now knight captures on a1, rook captures on a1, and knight captures on a4. Rook captures on a4, and we have queen to e4, sorry. And this queen to e4 move is now attacking this bishop on e1, but this isn't the main threat. The main threat is rook to b6. Rook to b6 with an attack on the queen, and then rook to b1, and this would be crushing. So here Saidy tries one last idea. He plays bishop captures on a5, not to allow the rook to come to b6, but it doesn't really matter as this allows a different tactic. Fischer plays rook captures on a5. So white doesn't really have any moves here as he is down a piece. He plays rook captures on a5, and here the simple queen to e1 check. King has to go to h2, and simply queen captures on a5, and Fischer is up a piece, and this is completely winning for black. So in this position, Saidy resigns the game. So yeah, definitely a beautiful game. Fischer was really up to playing good chess on this day, and well, yeah, he definitely shows that he is the king of positional play. So yeah, that's the game. I do hope you enjoyed it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon.